Hi, my name is Kay Sutha. I am a business strategist and I will be your host. In this podcast, I'll be getting raw, real, and relentless whilst interviewing successful entrepreneurs from all over the world who specialize in different aspects of business. We'll cover the 5 main pillars of business, which are sales, marketing, finance, operations, and leadership, but not forgetting mindset, live and digital events, plus much, much more. You'll gain insights, tips and tricks, and discover jaw-dropping actionable steps that you'll be able to put in place for your business right away. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Uncensored Society podcast. Now, this is one of our red carpet segments. So you guys know what that means. We've got an awesome guest for you here today, and I personally know her. Right. And I knew that she had to be on this podcast. Now, Dannella is an owner of Encore Elite Events and Speaker Needs to Speak. She is a creative force with a passion for connecting experts to those they serve through speaking and events while generating profitable and impactful visibility. Through her connections, millions of dollars have been generated and tens of thousands of lives impacted through speaking and live events. She believes in multiple streams of income, collaborations, and always finding the win-win-win combination. Don't we all love that, right? Please welcome Dannella Burnett, founder of Encore Elite Events and Speakers Need to Speak. Oh my goodness, Dannella, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I cannot wait for us to get started. So many golden nuggets, I know it.
Thank you so much, Kay. I'm really looking forward to this. I know you've got an amazing audience here and you bring them incredible value. So I hope I live up to the hype and let's give some good stuff today.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Now, we are going to kick off. First of all, if you can kind of explain to the audience where you was at before you transitioned into becoming a business owner.
So I have been in the hospitality industry my entire life. When I was 9, I found Julia Child on TV, and something about her, she was a very tall woman. She was almost 6 feet tall. Hey. She had that French lilt to her voice, very unusual voice, but I was just drawn to her. And in hindsight, looking back over my life, I think what I was drawn to was the undeniable passion that she had for what she did and the love that she put into, in her case, food, and then served people. Mm-hmm. And so I actually went on, I got a culinary degree, food service management degree. I was a chef, I managed restaurants, I catered, moved into event production and planning, mainly on the personal side. But like my entire life literally has been about serving people in the events industry in one form or fashion. And that took a big change when I attended my first personal development event about 16 years ago. I attended T. Harv Ekers' Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And I just saw a different way of learning, a different way of changing and adapting. And for me, a different type of event, the enrollment, the expert, the industry of information, if you will. Yeah. And so it didn't take long before I incorporated that into the kind of events that we did. And that's pretty exclusively what we do now. We still do the occasional personal event or a corporate event, but we predominantly are in this expert industry, which led to working with speakers. And I could not tell you how grateful that I am that we'd made that transition, before the time of COVID, because that's really what allowed us to make some shifts in our business and not only survive through the last 2 years, but actually thrive during the last 2 years.
Right. And that is awesome. It's all about shifting and pivoting, and you have cracked that.
Well, I do want to say something. I'm not a fan of the term pivot.
Okay, why is that?
Now, if you were in an industry or literally what you did previously could not be done. I mean, there are certainly areas of what we do. Venues, for example, venues were very, very hard hit when you could not meet there. other industries that have been effective, restaurants, for example. But for the majority of us, if you take away those that could not do business the way they had before, the majority of us should not have pivoted, but we should have done what is good business. On a regular basis, you should be looking at your business, and I like to categorize it into one of four things.
Okay.
This is working in my business as it is, and I should do more of it.
Mm-hmm.
This needs a little bit of tweaks in order to make it more impactful, more profitable, more efficient.
Right.
3, there's something not quite right here. This isn't working very well. It doesn't generate as much profit as it should. It's difficult. It's challenging. I don't have the right staff for it. It's not a bad idea, but it definitely needs to be pulled from the front burner to the back burner. And you don't need to put your efforts and your resources there. And then 4, the things that are simply not working, they not only need to be pushed to the back burner, but they need to come off the stove as well. As a business owner, you need to constantly be evaluating every area of your business, where you're spending resources, where are you investing into your business, where are you spending your time? And you should focus on those first 2 things. What is working as it is? It's a good use of your time and resources. You're generating profit. You're making an impact. You're just in alignment and you're getting paid for that.
Right.
And 2, the things that just need a little bit of massaging, just a little bit of seasoning, if you will, in order to be better. But the things that should be pushed to the back burner, or the things that should come off the stove altogether. And that's what I think we needed to do during the time of COVID and over this last couple of years, is that evaluation of your business. And that's exactly what we did. We do events and we work with speakers. A lot of our business, we had to look at it in that second category. We knew we still were going to work with speakers and with events, but it needed some seasoning. It needed a change from in-person live to virtual live or digital live, depending on how you want to refer to that. So we made that change, and we took that was maybe in the second category and moved it into the first category, where it was firing on all cylinders. It tasted great, and we did a whole lot more of it.
Right. And I love that. Now, I know you have this ability, right? You've got this superpower, Dannella, of putting strategies together for your speakers and event hosts, and then creating massive profits and impact. Now, for our audience, please explain, what does that look like and what does it all mean?
Well, I think every time you get on the stage as a business owner, when you are using speaking to grow your business, you're using speaking to generate leads, you're using speaking to actually ask for the sale in the moment. We call that a transactional speaking opportunity, or speak to sell. Or if you're getting paid to speak, every time you speak, you should be getting paid. You should have a strategy in place, a monetization plan for how you're going to get paid. Because if you are not getting paid, it is not speaking, it is simply talking.
Okay, so wait. Don't we need to talk, right? To explain, to educate first before we go into the sale, and the sale will come after?
Well, if you're using speaking to generate leads, yes, the sale would come after, but that's all part of that speaking opportunity. So if you're in that opportunity and maybe you're offering a free gift, or your lead magnet, you're inviting people to a conversation afterwards, you're providing them with a little taste of your value and your expertise, you should have a plan in place for how that leads to talking to that person to see if they're a fit for you, if you're a fit for them. But that opportunity should be with those sales conversations in mind. So your conversation should include a bit of that, include that invitation during that talk. Otherwise, you're just sharing information. And sharing information is great, but we're an information overload. We can get information from YouTube, from Google. We don't have a lack of information, but you as the speaker, in order for that to be your business and to help grow your business, you've got to have a plan for how your information is then translating into getting clients.
Okay. Now, I like the way that you've actually explained that, because I feel like there is a lot of people out there that can speak, that can educate, but when it comes to the sale, that's where people get stuck. And what you're saying, what I'm hearing right now, is that there needs to be a structure to combine all of that together.
Yeah.
Right. So, Dannella, tell me what actually qualifies you as an expert in this niche.
Well, I've been doing this for a very long time from behind the scenes, in the expert event world, we call it the back right corner of the room. That's usually where the event planning team is, where the strategy is taking place, where you're taking care of the attendees, the back left corner of the room being your AV team. And of course, the stage at the front of the room. So I've been in the back right corner of the room for a very long time, working with some of the industry leaders, many names that you would recognize. But I myself saw that in order to really grow my business, I was going to have to step onto the stage. So 5 years ago, I got speaker coaching to learn how to take my expertise and make it interesting from the stage and share with people, what it is that I do, strategizing events, supporting our event hosts, helping our event hosts have, 6 and 7 figure weekends in their 3-day events, as well as using speaking to grow leads. And that led to working with more speakers and speaking on the stage myself. So I don't just teach this and coach this and have a community of speakers that I support, but this is what I do to grow my business as well. And I learned some things that when I would get on stage and speak about events, there were fewer people in the audience that it might be just the right time for them, or they were readily receptive to the information. When I changed my focus to speakers, because all event hosts are speakers, they're going to get up on the stage and they're looking to make an impact and eventually make a profit during the event or after the event. But not all speakers are event hosts yet. So I speak to speakers first, because the majority of entrepreneurs should be using speaking in some capacity to grow their business, get more leads, and get more sales. And then many speakers using other people's platforms at some point should be creating their own platform, whether it's workshops or master classes, webinars, 1-day workshops, 3-day events, creating your own platform where you can be the star and impart even more information and more value to your audience and get paid even more is hugely valuable.
Right. And I want to backtrack a little bit. Okay. You said that how, you've worked with these speakers and they are making 6 figures in a single weekend, right?
Yeah.
And listeners are probably thinking, holy crap, no, there's no way that's possible, right? I have been at these weekends with you at these events, and I've seen it happen with my own eyes. But I also realize how important it is for you and your team to put that structure in the background in order for this to happen. Because there's been events I've been on and they've not had any structure. And guess what? They've had 0 sales, right? So it's highly important to prepare for what happens in the background, get the structure all in place to have that successful event. And then you're going to be blown away with what you can do, right? And also you mentioned that you worked with some very known people in the industry. Are you allowed to name drop?
Well, you can go to any of our, sites and you can see some of the folks that we work with. We have a client who's in Australia, Ken Krell. That's actually how you and I met. Ken's been in the industry for a very, very long time. And he did what many did during this time of shifting to digital and virtual. He was already doing digital events, but he really stepped up the pace. That was one of the things that we saw in the last couple of years, where a 3-day in-person event, you need a much longer time period to plan and prepare for that. One, you've got hotels, you've got venues, you've got physicality to the event that takes a little bit longer to put into place. And your audience also needs to travel. So they need a little bit more time to plan to attend your event. In virtual or digital, things are happening much faster. So we saw a lot of clients like Ken Krell who maybe had 2-3-day events step up the pace and had 6 3-day events last year. Yeah. Other clients that we work with, Jay Souter, Tom Matson. We worked with many that may not be as known in the industry. We worked with a lot of first-time event hosts as well. Those were some clients, the ones I just mentioned, were ones that had in-person events before, but we helped them take them to virtual, and they had 6-figure or better results. We had one client who had $500,000 in revenue generated during the 3-day event. But as the offer was a risk reversal or a revenue share type of offer, it actually was $500 million in revenue generated that they will realize over the next 2-year period. So big numbers are possible. But as you just said, you need to make sure that there's a structure in your events and in your talks. What your goal is really to bring people to the place where they're ready to make a decision. And in any given audience, even your own audience, not 100% of the people are going to accept your offer. A conversion, and we refer to conversion as, what's the ratio of the people who are in the room who could say yes to your offer, who could raise their hand and take your free gift or set up a call with you, or if you're offering your coaching program or you're offering your packages or services, what are the people that actually take the sale in the moment? Right. And for selling from the stage, 20 or 25% of the room that take your offer in the moment is usually a pretty good conversion.
Right.
Which means 70, 75, 80% of the people in the room are not going to say yes. You want to bring everybody, though, to the point where they're ready to make a decision. And that's the structure that you were talking about. Yeah. Kind of what's that journey that you take people on so that you're giving them value, you're giving them information, you're creating a sense of urgency, you're allowing them to see what's possible. You're also holding up a mirror so they see where they're at now. Where are they stuck? And your offer or your program is the pathway between the promise and the problem. Yeah. So if they're ready to move forward, if they're ready to move with you, to move further, to move faster, to get some services, to get them from the problem that they're in to the promises of what's possible, they're going to say yes to your offer. And that's really what you're looking for, is you want people to be able to make a firm decision on, yes, this is right for me, or no, this is not.
Right.
That's a successful event when everybody really is able to make that decision, because you've structured the event in such a way that you're giving them that opportunity to do so. You're overcoming objections that might be standing in their way that can be overcome. And then those that choose not to work with you, you've still provided incredible value. And you certainly leave the door open for some no's or not right now. And so you leave that door open for the future, but you get that decision in the moment. And for your free offer, I've had 100% of a room before take my free offer. That percentage should obviously be much higher. But when you're selling from the stage, anywhere from 10 to 30%, depending on whether you've put the right people in the room that are a right fit for your offer, 10 to 30% of the room should accept the offer that you're giving them. And that makes for a successful event.
I love that. I love that, Dannella. And I want to stress to our listeners, right, that the structure is a secret. So whether you've been an expert in your field for many years or you're very new, as long as you've got a structure, you can have a very profitable event, right?
So, and having a team to support you, who can see what's going on and see you on the stage. I'll give an example of another client of ours who, by having the team around them, we completely changed the trajectory of that event. As they were going into making their offer, there's typically a bit of a sense of urgency that you want to impart. You want people to make a decision. You want to urge them to make that decision. And that really wasn't there. The right energy wasn't in the room. And when our client shared what their offer was, it really wasn't as clear as it could have been. And when people aren't clear, it's hard for them to make a decision. Clarity wins over cute every day, and clarity wins over confusion every day.
Right.
And so after they made the offer, there were a few people who raised their hand, one who committed fully. This was a $16,000 a year-long program. So at the end of that time period, we had $16,000 in sales. We got together and I told them what I thought the problems were, that their audience needed, that they had missed the mark a little bit.
Right.
Very, very open to constructive criticism. We then spent the next 3 hours with their speaking coach, with me as their event coach, and the client. We spent the next 3 hours and really recrafted how they were going to come back to the event the next morning in the time period that we call the repitch. When you really do clarify things that you might need to clarify, when you make sure that people's questions are answered. And again, you're looking to give the right amount of information so that people can make a decision clearly one way or the other. She did it beautifully, shared where there'd been confusion, cleared that up, made sure that it was compelling and that people understood really the value of what they were being offered. At the end of that day, $193,000 in revenue. So by having a team around you who's able to support you during that, when you're having an event, can make those types of drastic differences.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And I like the fact that you're in the back of the room, you're watching and listening to the speaker, and you can see a different perspective on how it's working, how it's not working, and able to pinpoint out where the changes need to be made. That is super powerful. And I guess that's another one of your superpowers, because not everybody has that, Dannella. They really don't, right? So that's amazing. So are you able to give us any more, or at least one more success story you've had with one of your recent clients?
So we had a client who had been very successful in the in-person space, and honestly thought that when things went virtual, they just didn't think that what they did would adapt to virtual. Oh. And he stopped speaking. And he, found out what we were doing and getting speakers on stages. And, we got on the phone and he's like, I just don't know if what I teach, and he's a speaking coach, if what I teach is really going to work, for the virtual. So, we talked about what he shared, because I immediately said, no, you are needed more than ever, because we have speakers that need to know the foundations of speaking and how to impart humor and how to structure their talk so that they're successful on other people's stages and in their own events. Mm. And we put them on a lot of stages. We made connections for them. He attributes $200,000 in revenue to the speaking engagements that we booked him into. Wow. And Then he was like, I'm ready to do my own 3-day virtual event.
Amazing.
He's now done 2 of them in the last couple of months, generating $500,000 in revenue from just 6 days, 2 3-day events. So countless stories. We've done 38 3-day events in the last 2 years since we made the shift from in-person to virtual, and we're ready to go back to in-person. The same things that work in virtual work in person. Are some great benefits to virtual. You do save money that you don't have a venue to deal with. You don't have the same hospitality or feeding your attendees, feeding your whole team because everyone's at home or in a studio. So you do save some money. You'll spend a little bit more time. You'll spend a little bit more on team and technology, but it's usually less than what you're saving in the venue and hospitality. So virtual is definitely a good value.
Yeah.
And you can have a wider net. You can invite people literally from around the world that might not otherwise attend your event if they had to travel. So there are some definite benefits to virtual. We're going to see virtual continue. I don't think that it's going anywhere.
Right.
We are also seeing some in-person events come back. And I think we're going to go into a period where, depending on what your goals are, either virtual, digital, or in person are going to make sense for you. And there'll be options for both of those. There'll also be hybrid, which is serving both audiences at the same time. It has some unique challenges. I won't go into all of that now, but true hybrid can be a little bit of an advanced strategy and need some additional support. So not that it can't be done, but obviously, needs to be well thought out. But we're going to see this continue, and we're going to see, information and expertise being imparted from the stage. And you need to be taking advantage of this as a small business owner or an entrepreneur, a coach, a consultant. If you're not yet, it is definitely time to figure out how to incorporate more speaking and events in your marketing, in your way of getting and doing more business.
Definitely. I totally agree with you there. And events is something that's never, ever going to disappear anyway, right? It's only going to keep on growing. And so, Dannella, is there a principle that you can teach our audience today that they can maybe implement in their business straight away?
So back to the speaking. I said earlier that if there isn't a monetization strategy, or if you don't have a sale in mind, then it really is just talking. When you are speaking, you can get paid before you speak, and that would be like a keynote or a paid opportunity. And a lot of times there you're getting paid, don't get to do as much promotion.
Right.
2, you're using speaking to generate a sale in the moment. During your talk, you're going to offer something directly to the audience that's going to encourage them to take out their credit card and make a purchase right there. It could be your book. It could be your course. It could be time with you. It could be a service. It could be coaching. It could be a year-long program. I mean, it could be from the $20 book to the $50,000 coaching program. But there's an opportunity where you're sharing an exact sale and asking for it in the moment.
Right.
And then there's speaking to generate leads. And this is probably the most common right now. And if you're just starting speaking, focus here. We have a workshop that we call From the Stage to a Sales Call. And the key there is focusing in on what are you offering that audience that's going to bring them further along and closer to a conversation with you where you might make an offer. So putting together a great lead magnet or a great free gift that has value, that solves a specific problem for your audience, that's tangible, that gives them action, that's easily digestible, and they can get a quick win. You want to create these so that when you get a speaking opportunity like this, there's something that value that you can offer the audience so that they get to know you a little bit better and it moves towards a sale. So Kay, is it okay if I offer something to your audience today
Oh my
so
goodness.
they can get an example of this?
Yes, please do.
So if you'll go to stage2asalescall.com, stage2asalescall.com, you're going to get a workbook that we've put together on how you create these free gifts. And there's 31, we call them the 31 flavors, 31 different ways that you can take your content that you already have and repurpose it into a lead magnet or a gift that you're going to offer your audience. And as you get that document, you take a look at it, you'll be connected to us, and we can invite you to one of our Stage to a Sales Call masterclasses where we dig into that a little bit deeper and actually help you create that lead magnet or free gift. So that I've done it. That's exactly how you want to do it. You want to offer something that's of great value to the audience that's listening to you, and something that brings them a little bit closer. So if you follow what I just did and follow what I just shared with you, you're going to actually see it in action. So like, here's the talking, but here's the talking behind the talking. Because if you raise your hand and you get this gift that I'm giving you, stage2asalescall.com, you're going to come a little closer to me. I'm going to know that you are interested in something that I have to offer. And we're going to be able to get closer to having a conversation. And maybe we help you with your lead magnet. Maybe we help you get on more stages. Maybe we help you produce your own event. I don't know where that relationship might go, but we've brought it further along. And by sharing that while I'm on the stage with you, I've made this time valuable for me, as well as valuable for your audience, as well as valuable for you as the host here. And that's what you're looking to do. That's that win-win-win.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are just listening and don't take advantage of that, that's okay. You're not my people, or it's not the right time, or you're not interested in what I've offered to you today. But if you are, go ahead and grab it, and let's get into a conversation and see if there's more that we can do together, more ways that we can serve you.
Definitely. And I want to add there that I did download your 31 flavors. And because of that, I was able to create 3 lead magnets, and it has brought me leads. Right. Yay! So I am the example that it does work. It's great information. If you don't have a lead magnet already, go and download it right now, guys. Okay. Dannella, it's been an honor to have you here. Thank you for so many golden nuggets. Oh my goodness. I feel like I can talk to you forever on this. Thank you for your support. Thanks for being here. I know our audience are going to take away so much away from this. So thanks once again.
Thank you so much, Kay.
Thank you for your time and listening to Uncensored Society podcast. All resources mentioned throughout the episode will be added to the show notes, and you'll be able to find them at the bottom as you scroll down. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and leave a review in iTunes. Thank you once again.